Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Harmonic Path Podcast. In this episode, I speak with Bee. She's a movement practitioner, fascia worker, nature-based educator, a deeply intuitive creator, and in summary, a very curious human being. This conversation is for anyone interested in conscious childcare, in how trauma is stored in the body and can be released, in how nature mirrors our inner structure, and why healing may be less about fixing something and more about expanding our capacity to hold who we truly are, and even what this has to do with skincare. With Harmonic Path, we are creating a platform for healing and growth, connecting people with guides, practitioners, healers, and conversations like that one that help us return to ourselves. So if this resonates with you, please support us. Subscribe to the channel, share this episode, and help us grow a conscious network of healing and depth. And now, enjoy this conversation. Hi Dee, good
Hi,
morning.
good morning.
Yeah, so nice that we talk today.
Yeah,
Yeah, how are you?
thank you. I am okay. I'm like excited and nervous.
Uh-huh.
I think I remember you saying that in your podcast a couple of
Yes.
times ago. And I'm feeling like this is Dominic and we perform together and we're friends. So it's fun.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, also I have always a bit of like a feeling in the belly, like a bit of a nervous feeling. And I like
Yeah.
also yesterday I was in the yoga. We have here this yoga teacher in Kotobro. He's from India. I don't know if you know
Yes.
him.
Ganesh.
Yeah, Ganesh. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And we did this headstand just kind of on the head, so it's a lot on the neck.
Oh
And
wow.
I was a bit scared, that sometimes I had some problems with the neck, but today I feel good. So it was like it's nice, to make this jump. Sometimes we're a bit scared, but then you make it, and then it's okay after, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice. So that's a bit the feeling today.
Yeah, I get that too. I get that too. You meet the edge and then you step over and expand.
Yeah, yeah, and so because sometimes it can feel that if you go over the edge, it's like there's a danger, and it's the potential is there, but I felt all the time, okay, if I send like trust, to the whole thing, then it will work. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
nice. I thought I always like to start just from the beginning and then we go. So I thought where I really had a really connection to you was when we dismantled the kindergarten project. When we took off the things and brought it to a how you say, like a magazine. And so in some way it was a bit a sad moment, but it was also such a, I don't know, beautiful moment in some way. And I liked so much about what we talked while we took off the things and while we brought it there and walking up the street and so on. So my first question is, why did you start a kindergarten project?
Oh wow, that's a good question. Um, because because I saw that there was a need for it, I think,
Mhm.
primarily because there are a lot of families here and children here, and also because I had been working with children like before,
Mhm.
but I'd been working for I've done a lot of things, but
Mhm.
the previous few years before I moved to Spain, I was working for this huge education center in the UK. That's so beautiful.
Mhm.
And what they wanted to was to reform their whole center.
Mhm.
And so I worked on basically bringing the outdoors in for the children and bringing nature in and a
Mhm.
kind of different way of being with the children. And I did that kind of online, if you like, kind of like not actually with the children, but helping the adults who were with the children for about 3 years. And then I
Mhm.
started feeling like I'm losing connection. I'm not I'm not like in it. And so when we moved here, it was like, oh, I can be with the children.
Mhm.
This is cool. I can actually do this. And I don't even need to design a center because we don't even need to be inside. We
Mhm.
can just be outside. So
Yeah.
that was kind of, yeah.
Okay, nice. And I mean, I know that you do different things also working with the body, and I want to go into this later as well. And I know also you're an artist, if I understand it. I don't really know. We will discover it during the
Yeah.
talk. But why did you come to this field in general, to the children education?
Initially, because I had my first child and we lived outside a lot of the time. We lived in a caravan in a field. It was very, very beautiful, really, really special, very special for my child. But whenever I took her into a busy space or an indoor space or a kindergarten, she couldn't cope at all. She couldn't deal with it, and I felt like I needed something for her. And I was training as a Waldorf, like up to sevens, so not a Waldorf teacher because the classes start from 7 upwards, but that whole block of child development before 7. And I trained in that while she was a baby, and then I opened a kindergarten primarily for her, so she could have this amazing place to be. But it was really cool for all the other families, and it really suited her, and I learned a lot in that phase. But also in the training, when I walked in, it was in York Steiner School in the UK, and when I walked into the first session, I felt like this is the childhood that I would have wanted to have. This is like the magic that I feel needs to be coming alive for all of these children, these connections and this sense of like trust and safety and magic. So it kind of, it started like 20 years ago. Yeah,
I can very relate to it. Also, I was so happy to have before the Montessori kindergarten for Emilio, and then your project, when there is a nice just like it's like a connection. I feel like an emotional connection. I don't know how it's not so much that I get a document and I read what techniques are. It's more really this connection, and I felt this very much. And so like, how do you feel? Because there is always like I'm reading now another book about child's I don't know, education or how you want to call it. There's the integrity of the being, and then there's the society, let's say, and it's like every day we have maybe hundreds of conflicts where we are with the integrity and where we are, in the society or in the system we are. And how do you like now? I mean, also then we ended the project, or you ended the project, and also Emilio now is in the public school, and so I'm thinking sometimes. Is it just like that if we have these special schools in the nature, then we can give them a nice childhood, or is there also a way to be dancing with the society and with the individuum, or how do you see this?
I think so. I think if the best outcome for me is that that it's all integrated, and that it's all interwoven. And I think like if a child has attached adults that they can emotionally trust and feel safe with and have connection with, then that's like everything. That was, like you said, it was the emotional thing for you in the project, and I think for me as well, it was the emotional thing, because I don't think you can learn anything unless your body is safe and you feel connected and with the people around you. And that's true whatever age we are. And so if a child is in a public school and they have these connections with their friends and the teachers, and they feel warm and safe and alive in their body, then they're going to have a good time and they're going to learn as well. That's how I feel.
Nice.
I know that the homework and some of the subjects, and it's like, oh, this is so boring, but that fundamental sense of connection and trust and relationship, if that's there, then that's healthy in the mind.
It kind of calms down a bit always again, and the whole concept topic, because there's always like this ideal maybe, and then there's the real world, and they need to kind of be integrated together. And I like it if this can be integrated from other elements and not just techniques or something. That is a nice, how can I say it? But is it also that sometimes we cannot control the whole thing, but at least we as a parents maybe can then give at home this feeling of safety, and maybe it's not always in the outside there. And I feel also it's sometimes you need to make something which is a bit scary also, and where you're not prepared. So I guess the life is always like this, no? That also you will face something where it's not so good, everything, the environment, and then we need anyway to find our way.
Yeah, and then we adapt because we're human.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to do. And we're always looking for the balance, I think. And with the children, like I don't think that it's ideal at all that the schools are inside and that the children are sitting a lot and that they're inside and that it's very, very structured. For some children, I think that's amazing because they love to go, oh yeah, this is what I'm doing today, and then this is what I'm doing next, and this is the end time, and yeah, that's amazing. And other children, that does not work. And so I think that there is a kind of inflexibility perhaps within the system, but then outside of those school hours we can do a lot, and they can be a lot, and we can create a lot more balance.
Yeah, it's nice to hear.
Oh, bless you.
No, I mean, it's, it's not that I worry constantly, but sometimes there's coming thoughts, how do I feel about it? And I like it that he's with the, in the school with the other kids, and it's like a nice mix of Spanish and international kids. And I see also the teacher, she's so, emotional. There's some good vibes, let's say. But still, as you say, then I also feel it can be always in a concept in the mind nicer. But I also like this idea that what I see and what I sometimes see, especially in traveling families, is that there can be a lot of thoughts, like I need to find the perfect school, I need to find the perfect place to live, and so there's constantly like let's say you have 100% of energy or something, and then there's always like 20 to 40% taken from this energy because you keep thinking, is this the right thing? Should I not, go for something better? Maybe there's something, and it's like it could be like in a relationship that you think, maybe I should have another relationship, or I should open my relationship to have other, and so, but in some way this reducing also gives like more energy for other things, like accepting that something is not perfect, but it's like this. And so it's always nice to get new elements on this accepting, like how to be more acceptable of the reality we are. Yeah.
If we can find our moment in whatever moment we're in, like if we can find our connection, and it's hard being a parent, isn't it? Because we're always like, what effect is this going to have on my child? It's really, and inevitably our children think in so many different ways, and the way that they think and the way that they grow changes, and so what they need changes, and our ability to adapt and pivot with that, with all the extra things that are in our life, it's a big ask. So if we can find our connections and our aliveness and our like peace with whatever surroundings we're in, and really kind of come into that moment, then I think it's easier for us, more fun for us, than if we're guessing like, is this okay or not, or is this right or not? And that's good modeling for our kids as well.
Yeah, I like it also in this way that you have this harmony in between accepting things and changing things, like and that this harmony goes like this. That sometimes you feel, no, now this really, I think I need to change something, but the other thing I need to accept. And that sometimes I feel that the more freedom you have, everyone of at least the international community here left his home country. So in some way, if you make the step, you're already more open, that that there's other things. And so sometimes I feel this, I don't know, let's call it optimization, can then take too much, It's not, it goes too much to the side that we think we can optimize everything, and we should also optimize everything if we have the possibility to optimize everything. So we should find the best place with the best community and the best nature, and we should have the best school for the kid, and then it's so much on this optimization thing, yeah. And I like this with the dance, because I saw you when we were doing the theater, the improvisation theater. I saw you once, and I saw you how you moved, and I found so like that you have such a nice body language, let's call it like this. So what do you do in this area, because I know that you do a lot also there?
I work with I'm just going to shut this door a little bit, we've got builders. I work with what do I do there? Well, I work with the body, with people in like a few different approaches, but I'm trying to find I'm trying to say what the essence would be. And I think, and related to the dance, I think it's like, I think I work with reconnection in the body. I think that is my thing, and that has like different stuff. So I'm a somatic dancer. I work with like moving emotions and stories and experiences and feelings through the body, because for me, if I don't move, they get stuck. And I get stuck, and I need to cry a lot, and I need to feel a lot, and it gets in there, and if I don't find the language within my body to have like to express like my physical soul through my body, then I don't feel so good. And I notice that is also a block for a lot of people, that we can live almost outside the body, even though we're in the body, but our consciousness is not in the body so much. And so that's a lot of my work, is about coming back within the body. And then like when you bring fascia work into that, like working with the connective tissue, with all of the memory and the energy and the emotion and the fluidity that holds, oh my God, it's just magic. It's like really, really magic. And that's like kids as well, because they are so free. They have such a language of physicality, and their emotions and their expressions are in every part of them. They're so embodied. It's like, they're amazing. And then somehow, I guess, like, that's a bit of the society thing that you were talking about. No, we kind of get older and we're a bit more like, I'm just going to carry this, and I'm going to carry this, and I'm going to attend to this. And admin is probably the biggest thing that takes me out of my body. Oh my God. We have all these things as we grow up, and our brains need to become more focused on like tasks and responsibilities. And sometimes it's hard then to just go into the play and into the embodiment of being this amazing thing that's like porous and in the planet and made of the planet and really in it and playing with it, like we feel like we walk through the air, but I feel like the air plays with me as I move through it. And that's where I want my center to be always.
Just when I think now, when was the last time that I was like this? And I don't know, like if you think that in a normal life, like maybe sometimes you dance, that can be like in a club or something, but it's also not so often as a parent, I feel. I remember once in Thailand we had a nice moment with Medio, where I smoked marijuana, and then I had I was like a kid. I didn't think, I don't know how to say, I was like a kid, and everything became real we played, if I say Coca-Cola, then it will rain Coca-Cola from the heaven, and I feel so much. And we were, but after we needed to pack our things to move to the next stop, and I was so confused, I don't know, I go somewhere to take something to put it in a bag, I come back and I forget why do I go there, because I was so in the moment, kind of, that then I understood also, okay, it's this the two things, that on the one hand we are this, as you say, this beings, and on the other side we are, as you say, parents and so on. So how do you do it? Like, how do you help the people to get again into this other element of feeling the emotions and expressing them?
I hold in the most practical terms, like I hold these classes and these courses But in the energetic terms, what I aim to create is like, if you come into the room with me, or I come into your home and we're going to work together, I want to love you. And I want you to feel really loved and really heard. And therefore your body goes, oh, and you're safe. And I really mean that, because oh God, I love people like so much. We have so many stories. The children have so many stories. And as adults, like, we are so much and so amazing. And I want to know that of you, and I want you to know that of yourself. And so I come with that, and then I'm looking at your body, and you're talking to me, and I'm hearing your stories and your emotional expression and the way you move your body when you're talking about certain things, and I kind of get a sense of like what's holding and what might be happening, and it's very intuitive. And then maybe we move together, or maybe we do some fascial maneuvers together, and I check in with you, and we see what needs to happen, or what the effect is, or like how you're feeling. And so it's a really kind of, we weave something together. And then again, going back to the practical, like I work with the connective tissue, so there's lots of very physical, kind of almost like self-osteopathy, if you like, physical maneuvers that do that, and it works with the breath as well. And so we're holding this physical maneuver, and we're working with the breath, and we're also working with an intention that we're going to open our body. And it's quite amazing, because at the end of the maneuver you can get this kind of like, wow, hi, a bit like you were describing in marijuana, like you're really, I'm here, I'm really in my body, and I'm here. And sometimes that comes with like a rush of emotion, or a memory, or just a feeling of lightheadedness. And often that results in dance, like in between kind of things that we do in the classes. I'll put the music up, and then I'm like, just move however your body wants to move right now. And that is like magic. That's so magic, because then people play, we play. It's lovely.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
And so, because I don't know if I heard it, I think I heard it, and I also feel it in some way, that, as you say, that memories in some way are stored in the body, because you said now that if you do special, you get into the space, and then you move, maybe you make special movements, and then you said there's coming memories up or something. So do you also feel intuitively, or know scientifically, or I don't know, that memories are really stored in some areas of the body, and so on? Or how do you bring this together?
It's really observable in the kind of extreme cases, like when you get someone with post-traumatic stress disorder, which I definitely have as well, which is part of what makes me very sensitive and sensory open, and porous, is because my senses are very alive, and that's partly due to the kind of experiences that I have in my life that have kept my body in that state. But there is also a really beautiful gift to that, because I can feel a lot more, and I feel very, very alive a lot of the time. But the memories, like, you can see that in post-traumatic stress, because if something happens, it can trigger a physical reaction in the body, and it might be a smell or a color or just a really unrelated event, or like when you eat, a much more gentler explanation is like, if you eat something that you ate when you were a child, and it gives you this sense of kind of comfort, and you're like, oh, this reminds me of my grandma, or this reminds me of Christmas at home, and that's like our body's taking an experience from the now, and then re-emerging an experience from the past, and bringing the two together in an emotional kind of union, but also in a sensory union. So we kind of experience that our body holds memory all the time. And also, we learn to drive a car and we don't forget, because our body stores the mechanisms of how to do that. And it's not our brain thinking every time, or now I need to change gear, and now I need to, like, we just do it because our body learns it and then does it for us, you know, in that sense. But also, I've been thinking about this lately because sometimes I hear, like, we have an emotion that's stuck in our body and it's in this particular place, and then we can do something and we release it. And maybe that's really true as well, but something that also feels really real for me is that the experiences we have in our life become very woven into, like, our fabric. And so they're sort of everywhere, if that makes sense. And that they develop us physically. So the way we move and the way we contract and the way we respond and the stiffnesses we have and the emotional responses we have are all part of the experiences that have woven us together. And so, like for example, the kind of contractions that you have in shock, and when that happens a lot, your body becomes more contracted kind of chronically. And that's because your body is kind of holding and remembering that contraction, and that isn't in a one little place, it's in your kind of fabric. And so your fabric needs to release that shock gently, but with that opening, there's also a kind of the awareness that this is also a part of who I am, and I need to honor that and respect that, because when I start to open it, more of me will emerge. Like, I will need to expand to hold what opens in me. And I'm kind of thinking of healing as an expansion of capacity rather than something going away, you know. So by healing, I'm expanding to be more of who I am and to be able to hold more of who I am, rather than take out something that I didn't like and release it from my body so it's never there again, which you can't, like, undo an experience that you've had, but you can expand yourself to fully integrate it and let it move in you, and then find, maybe if you choose, you know, find what gifts you have from that.
Oh yeah, it's touched so many, like, it's nice to think what you say of healing, that it's more like a, because it makes sense also with the breath. When you have yoga and you make a position and you can't really go more, and then you breathe and then you can go more. So
Yeah.
I'm still it's like a discovery, this thing, why the breath can, for example, make more space if you send the breath in a certain area. But I understand what you say, that if I learn driving, so I have a nervous system and it's all connected from the brain down to the spine and then to all the parts of my body. And if I can remember how to, like, I want to change the gear, and it happens kind of subconsciously that my foot presses the thing, so it's all saved. So then it makes sense that also if I have certain events, that as the nerves are all connected, that it kind of stores some information which the body maybe thinks is important for the next, so that it's as you say, it's not maybe just one place, it's more like in the whole system.
Yeah, in the whole system. And I think that also that system goes beyond the physical body, like really goes beyond the physical body. So you know that thing, like when you walk into a room and you're like, ooh, I'm feeling something in this room. And it might be coming from another person, or it might be the environment. Like, you walk into, I don't know, a house that maybe you want to rent or you want to buy, and you're like, nice house, but I don't like the vibe in here. Or, oh my God, this house is so tatty, but what a nice vibe, you know, I bet happy people lived here. And that's because our body, I feel like our body extends beyond our body. Like, we're so porous. Sometimes I imagine if we saw ourselves in from another lens, we would kind of see this really open, like, thing that was kind of where everything was coming in and out and being exchanged. And I really believe that we're like that. And so, yeah, it's like we have a kind of field, I guess, and those experiences are not just in the body, but they're like,
and then the fields kind of go together. And now if I imagine it like colorful smoke, or and then it goes together, and something go together, and some other things go away, and okay.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah, to think like this. I remember that I had, let's say, in the first years of my relationship with my partner, I had back pain and then I like several doctors and no really progress, and then I watched something about inner belief systems, and I found a yoga person who talked a lot about the psoas. And then I learned that we too had two belief systems, which kind of like an algorithm came together and, interact and push us up. And they are both about this fear topic, let's say, in different ways. Like maybe my belief system was, I'm not right. I'm not right, kind of. And so all the time when something happens, I think, it's because I'm not right. And then I get triggered. And then I learned that the psoas is this muscle which kind of is there for the contraction. So if you feel, danger, you contract your body so to not be attackable. And then I made this special psoas exercises. And we had in one fight, I came to it. Oh, wow, now look, we have these two belief systems and they are like interacting. And then we could let this go. And my back pain went away, which I had 2 or 3 years, and that made me so I don't know, like in one way it made me so amazed that really this can be. I thought already, okay, I will live with this my life, it will just be there, and that it can be released by, let's say, physical work, but also mental work in some way. So both of the things, and I want to know, do you know, like, or how with this, is it, how do you say this points, which, is it how do they, this, not karma, how is this called, this?
Like the chakras?
Yes, the chakras. So
Okay.
how do you, can you feel this concept also? Because you said, for example, that you don't think that things are in certain areas of the body more, they're everywhere. But in this context of the chakras, then maybe you say the root chakra, so it's about this and this topic. And as my back pain was in this root chakra, so how do you feel about, how can you also bring this concept together of what you experiencing or what you work with,
Like, do I work with the chakras as well, or do I kind of relate to them as a beautiful concept?
How do you feel about this concept that why should it be that in the body, in several areas of the body, there are certain things associated?
Okay, yeah. Like the base of your spine being about support, or the
For
psoas
example,
being like that contraction.
this part is another part, or yeah.
Yeah, I get you. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know how I feel it, and I don't know how to explain it because I'm kind of very much still learning about it, but I feel it. Like I'm in it, and then articulating it is like a bit more tricky. I think there are lots of different modalities. Like the chakra system is another way to explain something, but then there's other ways that are also equally valid and real, which might say something different. Like you've got the Louise Hay books, and you can look up asthma, and it will be like suffocating relationships with your mother or something like this. And I think that these are all like really interesting and useful and indicative tools of what might be going on with your body, for sure. It's really surprising though when I work with people in real time that like yesterday I was having my class and we were working on the lower body, and nearly everybody, including me in the class, we were doing a shin release. So it's this here, I'm releasing the fascia around my leg, and I'm sat here just holding it, and we're breathing, and then I'm like, I'm going to cry. And I don't know why I'm going to cry. Why would my shin make me cry? I have no idea. And I couldn't explain that in a chakra sense, or like, you know, it's not something I've ever heard of, that there isn't a center around my shin that will do this. But like nearly everybody in the class was feeling the same thing. And it was really, really beautiful. And I've understood that, and then working with people that, like, I might work on your, like, a little toe, because there's, you know, there's something going on there. And then you're going to be like, my God, I feel it in my ear. And now I'm like having this full-on memory and sensation of this thing that feels completely unrelated, but it is. And so I think there's like, there are lots of maps of the connections between the emotions and the energy and the experiences in the body and where they might lie, that are really, really useful and very true for a lot of people as well. And then there are all the unexpecteds, like all the infinite possibilities of connection, of the individual experience, which will go somewhere unique and somewhere we don't expect. And that happens too. So it's like, I could never say that your psoas is just about fear and contraction, because it could be, because you are so personal and unique with your life and your decisions and your way, that's a really useful generalization, like a starting point to look, you know. But actually with you, there could be so much more going on there, and something completely different as well, you know. And so it's like, I wouldn't want to come to you and presume that because you have back pain it means this, because I don't know.
I get what you say, that then you would have just a concept, and it's just kind of maybe like helping signs, like a arrow that could be this area, or
and then we really know, if I can somehow sync with you, then we get some really good stuff. Like if I can kind of tune into you, and we can create like a weaving together, and I can really hear you, and I mean like hear you with my body, my energy and my heart, as well as my ears and my eyes. Like if I can sensorily open to you and start to perceive and really hear what you're saying and what you want to express in that moment related to what's going on in your body as well, and how then those words change the way you move, or your eyes, or, you know, what you're expressing, and what I can feel, maybe even what I can smell, because like I'm really sensitive now, but you know, it happens. It really happens. Everything changes. We're so electrical and energetic and dynamic and responsive, and all of that's information. And so then we find like what's really going on for you, that has all the general things but also all the individual things.
Oh, now you gave me an interesting look on that. Like it's like you could say you have a 1D and then 2D, 3D, 4D, I don't know, you know, and if you really like sense the whole person, like with all, like how moving, smelling the hormones or whatever, and seeing the body movement. Yeah, I mean, that is what they say, no, the first impression or something, that this comes from all the sensory, even if we just mentally, we have maybe just a like very small part, and the other part is like more really nervous system and body, and yeah.
Totally. And also, if I understand you fundamentally as an organic system that is integrated within this planet, then I see you reflected around me as well. And that's something that I also do. Like one of my other complete loves is plants and botany and plant senses, like what plants perceive. And I've done quite a lot of study on that, because I'm a total nerd and I love learning. And I love feeling. And so I see like our reflections in planetary systems so much, and it blows my mind. It's so beautiful. And
Okay,
so
can you
that's
explain
also
it a bit better?
something.
Like, I understand maybe when you say that you see me completely and then you see reflections in the world. Can you maybe explain what you mean by this?
Okay. I know. One of them that I love is when I was first learning about the connective tissue in our body and my sense of the connective tissue, because I know like the connective tissue being this kind of 3D sort of web that integrates itself like a fabric all through our body, and it's part of our structural integrity. But there's also the understanding that it comes in layers, and those layers need to move smoothly across and around each other so that the body is able to be dynamic and fluid and flexible and mobile. But as soon as I started learning all these physical things, the whole kind of doors opened up, and I'm like, this energetically is magic. Like how our body weaves in with our energy is really magic. And so this connective tissue being this kind of physical structural integrity, what does that mean energetically? And then the reflection, it's just in my garden, and widow spiders, the species of widow spiders, because there's loads, there's not just black widows, there's loads, but you always know when you find a widow spider, which is very useful when you're working with children and they're poking around in the rocks. You know if it's a widow web because it's super messy. It's not like that lovely spirally round thing with the things. It's like someone's really, really freaking messy bedroom. And I love it. And I saw this widow's web, and I'm like, that's the closest picture I've seen in nature to the picture of the connective tissue. That's amazing. And then I'm thinking, like, we have made this connective tissue in our body. This spider has made this web inside her body, but she takes it outside of her body and makes something out of it that is extremely sensitive to the environment. And she still responds through the information fed back to her from that silk in that web to her environment, and it's how she lives. So it's like her structural integrity, we can see it on the outside of her body, and we have ours on the inside of our body, and they're both sharing information with us.
So you say because like the spider, in some way with her feet, she's touching the net, and so when a fly flies into this net, then she gets a sensory feedback that there is a fly in the. And so you say like in the physical understanding, this is what you say, that she expands her sensory system outside in some way, kind of.
Totally, and from the most basic understanding, we understand it as food. So we understand it as she's looking for a fly going into her net, and therefore she's finding the vibrations. But I think it's like a lot more than that. I think it's an extension of her physical body with which she senses her whole environment. So when she's making her
Like
web,
wind
she's also sensing the wind, she's sensing temperature, she's sensing like everything. And it's just an extension of her body, and that's kind of what I feel about the connective tissue in our body. Although it's on the inside, I also feel like the energy of it extends out of our body, and this is one of the ways in which we sense and perceive stimuli from our environment as well. But it's like this is just another kind of patterning that we have in our body that also exists in nature. Or like the mycelial networks under the forest floor, and how they are sending their communication pathways to all the different trees and the plants in the forest. And that's an incredibly sensitive and responsive organic system that's existing within a body, which is the planetary body. And then it's sending information into other bodies. And we also have that kind of mycelial network in our body, and it kind of looks similar as well, but we have this patterning where something in our body is sending information to us and also expressing information outside of us that other people will then receive through their kind of sensory perceptive networks, of which our connective tissue, I think, is a part. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I have this image of this Avatar. Was it this movie with this nature tribe where they were like connecting maybe with their hairs to the horse or to the dragon? I don't remember.
Yeah, I know.
So in some way, I see this a bit that, if you really feel, because it's true that, I mean, my body came out of the earth as my mother ate something. This created my body, and now I'm eating and breathing and drinking. So it's all the time in exchange, and I'm part of the earth, and so I get it kind of in this sense, but I'm still trying to understand what you meant by that. You see reflections of me in the world. Is it then more like a metaphor, or do you really feel that it's like this? You know. So if, for example, you say, I know that in our body the tissues are a bit like this layers, so I see a spider net. So this is what you say. This, or is it more even on another level?
I think it's both, because there's always infinite possibilities. but I think, like, one of the things that happens is if I'm talking to somebody, and it can be somebody that I'm working with, but it can also be like just anybody about anything. Like, we'll have this conversation now, and then I might go and swim in the sea, or I might be doing something else, and then suddenly I'll be like, I don't know what's happening in my environment, but I have a completely new understanding that has happened because I'm doing that thing at that particular time. And there's something that's reflected back to me, a moment of our conversation, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I think that happens too. And so if I'm like, if somebody contacts me and they're talking to me about what's maybe happening, and then I'm going to have a session with them a week later, or if I'm working with children and then, you know, we share information with each other and I carry that into my life, and then I'm going about my life and something around me will reflect a moment of that, and then it will land, and I'll get a deeper and more open understanding of what's going on. And I won't always understand how that happens, because I feel like I'm such an open learner, not a this is how it is. I don't feel like I know how it is. I feel like I'm like, this is amazing. Oh my God, this life, like, this is amazing. I know nothing, and everything comes in. It's really cool. So I can't kind of explain it other than the physical patterning that I explained before, but I see it as a thing that happens, because also, like, we are, you know, if you kind of, we're talking about our physical body and then our body being a part of this planet, but this planet has a body, and the planetary body has a pulse, and it has a porous exchange, and it is part of a greater body in a system of, you know, and so we get this macro that gets bigger and bigger and bigger, but then if we go smaller and smaller and smaller, and we get our microscopes out and we start going into the body tissues, that all starts to come apart as well and become something that is as spacious as the universe.
No, I get it.
Level, and you're like, whoa, how can I ever decide that anything is certain, like, for everyone for all time? I cannot. Nature does not operate like that. Nature is so spontaneous and exciting and open and full of possibility, with relationships and with patterning. And so we can look for the patterning and the relationships and bring it down, but we're always open to the spontaneous magic of anything can be the case right now.
And I like also this idea, because I remember my partner, she once went into the forest with a lady, and the lady said something that if certain, how you say, not grass, like herbs or something comes out, this means maybe that people will, in the world, they will need it. There will happen something, so they will need the special herbs. So that was this idea of that everything is connected. And I remember also this theory that our human race could be that they made the one step, kind of, when they ate, for example, how we call them today, magic mushrooms or something, you know, so that that everything is kind of connected. So how you say it, and how do you bring, because you say you're studying plants and so on, because I find it sometimes so amazing if I go to the nature therapist and I have something and she says, okay, you can use this plant and this plant and this plant and that helps against this, or, as if really the world was created that it offers you all the things, to heal yourself in a certain moment. I don't know how, so maybe you can open a bit the field also about what you said, the plants, what you're studying, and how maybe you integrate it, or how do you feel it, why the world creates like certain herbs which help us to heal. It's kind of strange if you think. I mean, there's the evolution, of all the different plants, and from this, and you have apples and all of this, and yeah.
I think it's funny, and I love hearing different people's kind of feelings of it, because often we're like, wow, these are amazing gifts for us, and I think we're not that important. This is not an amazing gift for us. This is an amazing spontaneous thing that happened that we make use of. But also how beautiful it is that we can be a part of this. Like if you have say nettles, and they're growing, and they're indicative of like high iron levels in the ground if they grow in this place, and so they contain iron, which then we can take into our body, for instance, and this is really, really good for us. And what an amazing thing that this wild herb contains this medicine that we can use. And is that like, but it has its, it also was almost like it's made by accident, and also it's completely made for the earth itself, like it's the earth performing its own function, because it needs to transport that nutrient into the air or into another system, and then we come along and we make use of that because we are also equally in relationship to it. And so it's like this kind of web of benefit and web of gift. But I do integrate it, because I do think about it. We need some of those things as well in our bodies. Obviously we need some of those things in our bodies, and without us having the kind of, I feel like if we that we can become so much more connected to our bodies, and also connected to our bodies as part of a planetary system, if we're also more conscious about what we consume from the planet, and maybe why we do that, and have that kind of acknowledgement of the gift of what this plant or this food is giving to us. And so that's definitely a thing. And if we understand more about what those plants, or what those minerals that are coming from the soil, how they act in our body, and how they support our body, and what happens when we don't have them, then we are also like coming further and deeper into that pathway of reconnecting, not just with our body but also with the planet. And then we sensitize through that, and so we can become more intuitive and more perceptive, and if you like, guided is another word you could use around that, towards going towards things that we will need. Like we will see them more because we need them. A little bit like if you pick magic mushrooms and there's a whole field and you don't see any, and then you see one and then suddenly they're everywhere. Or 4-leaf clovers, that can happen with that as well. Like you kind of see what you are focusing on, and sometimes we don't know what we're focusing on, but we can just open up to become more sensitive, to trust that what we see is important for us for some reason or other.
So I wanted to understand, just for example, making this example of, it's called, how is this green things? I forgot. They grow here everywhere in Spain. They like you know, like they're like needles. I don't know. They have this. You can use them for cooking. Anyway, I read a old story of the Middle Ages, and there they used it with saliva of the mouth. If you have an infection, you know, they put it on top, and then it will, for example, heal. And I'm still so amazed by this, that like the earth creates herbs which help to heal. Like, is it that we just developed a species because we use them, and that's why there is this synergy? Because I didn't understand how you said it. You said it's just more a spontaneous thing, and so it's like a development like this. You say, as if I understood it correctly, you don't think that the earth creates it for us humans because we're not so important. So it's more like occasionally things happen and they interweave and make sense together. Is this how you say it?
I think so.
Yeah? Mm-hmm.
I think
No, but it's amazing. Like, it's yeah.
I think it's very fun that the planet makes things that are so good for us. I think it's spontaneous and playful and fun, and it is probably not because we are, for me, I don't feel like it's because I'm, you know, this sort of superior species, if you like. I think I'm really clever, and it's amazing that I can learn to understand what's in everything and choose and pick. But I also think all the other species do that as well, you know. We all, like, animals are really amazing when you watch them grazing, and they're like these giant cow mouths are like nibbling tiny little herbs from a whole patch because they just know what they want. So I think that we all do that, and it's about kind of opening our senses to be able to do that more. But I think it is like really cool and fun that the earth creates these things that we can use. But yeah, I don't really think it's
it's so it's nice that you have this other view on it, and because sometimes I'm trying to understand this concept of, so what is artificial and what is natural. You know, let's say my body came out of the world, so it's I'm, you know, but also like a plastic bottle, which we would think is, or which we would define as artificial, came out of the planet, and also all our technology and our maybe now getting a bit in some way far away from the nature, you know, and being so technical and so much in the mind. It's all part of this. So how do you feel this? You know, is this like a misdirection, or is it just a evolutionary process which is not bad in some way? It's just happening.
We will see, huh? We're gonna find out. The further we go down the road. The planet is like a closed system within a porous system of the universe, because I mean we're not separate from the universe, and the planet has an exchange of atoms and molecules with the outside spaces. But as if we kind of bring it down to like our world, it is a closed system. And you're right, like the plastic bottles are coming from essentially an organic material, but we have alchemized them into something that does not break down in the same way that if it was more of a raw product, it would. Or like actually in a way it's even come from something that didn't break down, right? It's come from deep under the ground, from an oil substance that really never completely degraded and turned back into soil. It became its own thing that is there in this layer of the planet, and we're extracting it, and it's super useful and making loads of things. But the combination of chemicals and processes that we use to create this thing, it then becomes something that the microbes in the planet really struggle to then turn back into soil and something useful. And I think that's where the misalignment is, almost like our really cool over engineering. So we're like, and some things, the world is full of elements and minerals and plants that are both really beneficial for our personal health, but also full of things that are actually really toxic for our personal health. And some of the things we're extracting from the planet to make our chips and our computers and our stuff, they're actually materials that aren't that healthy for us, and we're bringing them out and putting them into use and then alchemizing them with other products to create something that's super durable and super stable and functional and useful for our trajectory, but not something that we can stick in our household compost bin and it's going to make us a carrot next year, because it's just not. It's going to, if it did, it's, you know, because of it's containing these elements that are full of all kinds of minerals and metals and things that are actually a bit toxic, especially in the alchemic combination that we've used them, then like we just poison ourselves with they're things that maybe weren't really that great to be exposed to use in daily life.
And how do you feel this, what you said before with the school, like that, you know, some things you cannot control, they are like they are, and we need to go into this acceptance. So how do you find acceptance for this if the world has this colorful smokes, as we said before, going into each direction? And yeah, how do you integrate it? I don't know. Maybe I don't know how to say, because I mean we use now a computer to show what you're doing, and it's so nice, I feel, but I know also the other side, so you know how.
Yeah, I think that it comes. I saw this amazing thing online, and it was a beautiful, beautiful friend that posted it, and it said it was a question, and it was about what is peace. And it said, is peace the absence of conflict, or is peace retaining our humanness within conflict? And I think that it's a little bit like that for me. So these things that we're using, they're really cool and fun, and they take us to places and give us possibilities that we didn't have before. And I love that. Like, I love it that so many of our families as well in our community can work remotely and then live in the places that they choose and have the freedom to do the things that they want to do because of these kind of devices or these tools, that maybe they have extracted something from the earth that is toxic, and you know they've got loads of issues, but they also have loads of gifts. And it's like that, there's often there's never just one side to something. But I think it's like how we retain our humanness and our clarity and what our intention is with the actions that we take and the progress or the developments that we make, and that defines whether it's really progress or peace or health, would be my view. I'm curious to see how it will go, because I see both. I think this computer's like, you know, it's kind of rubbish in one way, like what are we doing? And then I also think this is amazing. And this gives me the ability to connect with more people. And what do we need in our life more right now with kind of wars and things than connection? Like, we've always needed connection. And this is another tool that gives us really beautiful connection. So that's really cool. But that's because I have my heart in it when I'm using it as well, and that doesn't mean that it's good, but you know, because my heart is in it, I will then mitigate theoretically my effects on the planet that I don't like, because I'm thinking about my humanness in this situation.
No, but this is nice, because this is what you said at the beginning, that if there's a heart in it, you know, remember in the school project or something, if there's the heart in it, then it's more like, how you say, like a tool can be used in many different ways, like money or any other thing can be, you know, if there's maybe the heart connection in it, then it's about the direction or intention or something.
Yeah. And if I love my amazing planet and my amazing garden, when my computer's broken, I'm not just going to throw it out the window. I'm going to try and find a way to deconstruct it or do something with it that makes it as gentle an introduction back into the planet as it can be, or as healthy an introduction, or how can I reuse this to do something else? I don't know, you know. Like we create an intention, and
so from there
the point
it comes
of what we care about.
Yeah.
To then how we deal with some of the things that really benefit us, but we also know aren't so cool for other life forms.
Yeah, that was nice. Can you repeat this sentence? Peace is not just because I found it so nice.
The which
Like
sentence?
you said, I think the quote, peace is
Oh,
peace,
the
the
question.
absence of
Peace is
conflict.
not. It was this question. It was like, do you think that peace is an absence of conflict, or is it the ability to retain our humanness within conflict?
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
I really, really love that. And I think it's really important. It's like meditating in a public toilet, right? When I first learned to meditate, I was like, if I'm going to be peaceful, I'm going to have to be able to meditate in any space. So I'm going to sit in shopping malls and public toilets and pubs and just try it out there. Because, you know, life is not going to give me some amazing sanctuary every day that I want to calm down my nervous system.
Yeah.
And I think it's a bit like that.
Nice. Oh, yeah, cool. Okay, thank you. So I want to say, did we touch all the points which is also important for you? I mean, we had the physical work you're doing, we had the plant work. Is there anything else which you find interesting?
The skincare business that I have, that like there is an element of that in there. So when I'm making my cream, I trained in I studied environmental science. This is an important thing about me. I do study a lot of things, but I don't always finish them, because when I'm done and I have what I need, then I'm moving on to something else. Yeah, I mean, I might live for like 90 years and there is an infinite amount of things I want to do. Hopefully I'm going to be immortal, because like I have a lot that I want to learn. So having a whole 4 years on one degree might not suit my nature entirely. But one of the studying science and botany has been amazing, and then that feeds into making my skincare. But like at least half of the skincare is also about our connection with our body, and the recipes are like, I kind of intuit them. So I'm going to go and sit in a forest, and I like sit under an olive tree, and I'm just thinking about, kind of just feeling more than thinking, and then I'll make a recipe up, and then I'll retro research it to see if I got it right, and 90% of the time I'm getting it right, and that is an amazing practice. And the getting it right will mean that it's going to perform the chemical function on the skin that I want it to perform. It's going to perform the sensory function in terms of smell on the nervous system, and the tactile function of feeling like you've just put some love in your body. And it's also going to perform the function of being very alive, and like giving us something that then resources us back into the planet. Because every time we take plants, or we be in the ocean, or we resource our electrical system, if you like, and our energy system back into connection with this thing that we're in, which I think is really powerful.
Yeah. Okay, so you I get it, that you have the body which interacts with the world, and so on this intersection as well, there's the cosmetic part that you're saying, kind of.
Yeah, which also becomes a part of that, and is also like play. It's like art, and it's like play, making these things. It's really good.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, B. It was very
Thank
nice
you
to talk.
so much. That was really fun.
Yeah, for me as well. And I'm still a bit touched also by this. Like I feel that I want to move more, and so I will contact you on this. I'm curious how to.
Yeah, we need to go dancing. We all need to dance a lot more. That would be my one certain. I know this. We need to move. I definitely know that.
Nice.
That's my one certain in the universe. We are made to move.
Yeah, as the stars and everything. Yeah. We're part of it. Nice. Cool. Thank you very much, B.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Dominic.
Bye.
Bye.